What if there's something out there that can silence time, erase matter, and still leave no trace of its existence? What if the most powerful thing in the universe isn't even trying to be known? It doesn't rage. It doesn't shine. It doesn't scream across space with blinding fury like a supernova. No, it waits silent, patient, beyond time. We've given it a name, black hole, but that word is a mask. A placeholder for something we've never truly seen. It hides the fact that we don't understand what it really is. Not yet. Not even close, because what we call a black hole might not just be a place where the universe ends. It might be the place where everything once began. Scientists have tried to describe it. A region of infinite density. A singularity where space and time collapse. But even Einstein's equations begin to break down near its edges. And when the math dies, something older, stranger, and darker begins to speak. Is it an object? A wound? A tunnel? A seed? Roger Penrose once theorized that black holes might not be the end of a star's life, but the birth of a new universe entirely. Stephen Hawking dared to ask whether information, the very soul of physics, could ever escape from one. Carlo Rovelli wondered if inside them lay a bridge, a bounce where our universe's death gives birth to another. And now, with the eyes of James Webb opened wide, we are starting to see hints, echoes, contradictions, galaxies too mature, too structured too early, light that should not be where it is, structures forming long before they should have existed, as if some power folded time or restarted it altogether. NASA's latest observations speak of distant galaxies shaped by something they can't explain. Not dark matter, not just gravity, but something ancient. Something watching from the center of all things, silent, but unavoidable. Let's step back, because this isn't just science. This is psychology. This is myth made real. In every culture, every ancient tongue, humans have whispered about holes in the world, gates, mouths, chasms that lead to the unknown. And here it is again, not in dream, but in cold, cosmic data, a thing that doesn't just eat light, it devours certainty. And it dares us to look into it, knowing it will look back. You see, the black hole is not just out there. It's part of the machinery that built this universe. It's possibly connected to the beginning, the Big Bang, not as a result, but as a cause. Nikodem Poplawski has suggested a mind-bending idea that every black hole might birth a new universe inside, that our universe might be the child of one. Think about that. The most powerful force we know might not just destroy, it might create, but not gently, not lovingly. It births through collapse. It begins through death. It offers no comfort, only change. A black hole doesn't break the rules. It simply reveals that the rules were never complete. Slows to a crawl near its edges. Space curves until it folds in on itself. And beyond the event horizon, that final line, nothing, not even light, returns. Some physicists believe reality itself becomes undefined past that boundary, not just a place of no return, but a place where cause and effect lose meaning. Where before and after dissolve, and here we are, creatures made of stardust and instinct, staring up into the sky, trying to understand what we were never meant to grasp. We send satellites, build telescopes, map the darkness, but behind the physics, something else stirs. A fear, a reverence, because what lies at the heart of a black hole is not just a question. It's the question, the one that twists logic and ignites myths, the one that makes physicists lose sleep and poets weep without knowing why. What is this thing that doesn't exist, but shapes existence? Is it a doorway, a grave, a mirror? Or is it something worse, something that reflects ourselves back at us? That's the journey we're going on, not just through space, but inward into the strange machinery behind all things. Not everything can be answered, but everything can be felt. And in this journey, we'll go past the data, past the safety of numbers, into the place where science and fear touch hands, where silence hums louder than sound, where the universe vast and ancient asks us a question that can never be unheard. Are you ready to know what made you? They are not monsters. They are not objects. They are not even things. They are places. Places where the laws of the universe, the same ones that govern your heartbeat, the ticking of a clock, the orbit of a planet simply stop working. They are called black holes. But that name is too soft, too clean. It hides what they really are. They are cosmic executioners, judges, endings written into the fabric of space. And unlike myth, they are not rare. They do not hide on the edges of creation. There are billions of them scattered across the universe in every galaxy, including ours, sleeping, watching, growing. At the center of the Milky Way, there is one, a supermassive black hole. Its name is Sagittarius, A*. 4 million times the mass of our sun. It does not shine. It does not move. But everything orbits it, even us. So what is a black hole? It begins with collapse. A star massive beyond comprehension burns through its fuel and dies. It implodes. Gravity wins. There is no explosion, no release. Only pressure. Only pull. Only the birth of something that no longer wants to be part of this universe. At some point, its gravity becomes so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape. The escape velocity exceeds the speed of light itself. This is the event horizon, the boundary. A line you can cross, but never return from. From the outside, you fall in. From the inside, no one knows. Go closer, and time begins to distort. Not metaphorically, literally. According to Einstein's theory of general relativity, time near a massive object slows down. Near a black hole, it nearly stops. If you were to fall into one, to an outside observer, you would freeze in time, hovering just above the event horizon forever. But to you inside, you would fall through in seconds. Into what? That's the question. No physicist can truly answer. At the center is the singularity, a point of infinite density. Not just small, not just dense. Infinite. A place where all our equations break. Where cause and effect no longer exist. Where space and time stop making sense. It's not just that we don't know what happens there. It's that we can't know. Because the very tools we use, logic, measurement, mathematics, collapse with it. Stephen Hawking called them the most mysterious objects in the universe. And he wasn't exaggerating. He discovered something even more terrifying. Black holes aren't completely black. They leak. This is Hawking radiation, a theoretical prediction that black holes slowly evaporate over time, releasing tiny amounts of energy. Over unimaginable timescales longer than the age of the universe, they could eventually vanish. But here's the nightmare hidden inside Hawking's brilliance. If black holes evaporate, where does everything they consumed go? All the atoms, all the light, all the information, all the identity. Because physics says this clearly. Information cannot be destroyed. Not in any experiment. Not even in death. But black holes seem to break that rule. They erase. They consume not just matter but memory. This is the information paradox. The contradiction that makes black holes not just terrifying but impossible. Yet they exist. Kip Thorne, who helped pioneer our understanding of black holes and advised the film Interstellar, once said, "They are the most perfect macroscopic objects in the universe, because they are completely defined by just 3 numbers: mass, spin, and charge. Everything else, your past, your structure, your pattern, disappears. You become part of a geometry, a shape without memory. It is the ultimate form of obliteration. You go in, and the universe forgets you ever existed, and still, they grow, merging, devouring, colliding." NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory has witnessed black holes colliding in distant galaxies. The energy released from their union sends ripples gravitational waves across the cosmos, shaking the fabric of reality itself. We've now heard black holes merge. Not metaphorically, literally. LIGO, the laser interferometer gravitational wave. Observatory detected the hum of spacetime trembling. A low, mournful chirp from two titanic objects smashing together. Billions of light years away. They do not speak, but they announce themselves in echoes of violence. But perhaps the most disturbing truth is this: they are not rare. They are not hidden. They are everywhere. In every large galaxy, in quiet corners of space, in the hearts of stars yet to collapse. One might be drifting through the void right now, invisible, undetectable, passing silently between star systems like a ghost. And if one ever entered our solar system, we would not see it, we would not hear it, but the planets would shift. The sun would distort. And everything we know, every orbit, every constant would fall out of place. Time would warp. Reality would bend. And the Earth would vanish without a sound. You see, the fear of black holes is not just scientific. It's spiritual, because they show us the truth we try hardest to deny, that even the universe has places where rules do not apply, where identity ends, where light itself dies, and maybe, just maybe, those places aren't endings at all. Maybe they are something worse. Maybe they are beginnings. What would it feel like to fall into a black hole? Not in theory, not as a diagram on some physics chalkboard, but as a soul drifting ever closer toward the edge of reality. No more metaphors. This is not symbolic death. This is obliteration, not just of body, but of meaning. At first, it's quiet. You drift near what seems like a dark, hovering nothing. A void that devours light, yet whispers with gravity. It does not announce its hunger. It does not rage. It waits, a perfect predator born not of teeth, but of time. As you approach the event horizon, the final threshold, space itself begins to unravel. The laws of physics, so reliable, so universal, begin to hesitate. The pull becomes infinite. But not sudden, not violent, just inevitable. This is where Einstein's fabric begins to twist. You look back, and something terrible begins. Time stops. To you, moments continue ticking. Your breath still draws. Your heart still races. But to the outside universe, you have frozen. You are now a statue, suspended on the edge of reality, forever falling, never landing. This paradox is not just poetry. It is measurable physics, predicted by Einstein's general relativity, confirmed by Kip Thorne, and immortalized by the shadows we now see in black hole imagery, captured by Event Horizon Telescope, watched by the eyes of humanity, staring into its own ending. And still, you fall. Your body stretches, first at the toes, then the legs, then the spine. Spaghettification, they call it. A name far too gentle, because this is not just stretching. This is the dismemberment of shape, of definition, of form. Gravity at your feet is millions of times stronger than gravity at your head. And so, you become a thread. A cosmic scream pulled thin by an indifferent tide. But what about your thoughts, your memories, your mind? The black hole doesn't care. And this leads us to the most haunting question of all. The information paradox. Stephen Hawking, brilliant, fragile, eternal, said this is where physics breaks. Because if black holes destroy information, then the universe becomes forgetful, and physics cannot allow that. Everything we know depends on cause and effect, on action and memory, on a universe that remembers what it was, in order to become what it is. But if black holes truly delete information, not just bury it, but erase it, then we must confront a terrifying truth. The universe may lie. This isn't just about you. This is about everything you are, your story, your past, the stardust encoded in every molecule of your being. If you fall into a black hole, do those records vanish? Are you unwritten? Or is there something deeper, a hidden order beneath the chaos? Hawking once joked that information might leak out through Hawking radiation, that the dying breath of a black hole might whisper back what it took. But we still don't know. And the longer we look, the more disturbed we become. Black holes are not exotic. They are not rare. NASA estimates that our galaxy alone contains over 100 million. They are not visitors. They are neighbors, silently orbiting stars, lurking at the cores of galaxies. Some even wandering alone, homeless, bound to no star, invisible. Predators gliding through the dark. We used to think they were monsters. Now, we wonder if they're mirrors. Because inside them is a question we still can't answer. What happens when everything you are falls into something that cannot be known? Not broken. Not crushed. Just forgotten. The laws we live by, the Newtonian calm, the relativistic elegance, the quantum chaos all fracture here. And what remains? A singularity, a point with no size, but infinite density, where mass becomes memory, and time becomes legend. You are no longer you. You are now part of the unknowable, a prisoner of the cosmos. A poem written in a language we haven't evolved to read, but perhaps, somewhere beyond the singularity, past the veil where math fails and science trembles, something else begins. We don't know. And maybe that's the point, because black holes aren't just ends, they are reminders that for all our science, for all our telescopes, equations, and dreams, there are still places in this universe where the story stops, mid-sentence. And silence becomes the last truth. What if we've been thinking about black holes all wrong? What if the void isn't an end, but an opening? Not a tomb, but a tunnel. Not death, but the beginning of something far stranger. For centuries, the black hole has haunted us, a singularity that pulls everything inward until even light can no longer escape. The great cosmic eater, the ultimate silence. But there is another idea, rarely spoken, barely understood, and even more terrifying in its implications. White holes, not fiction, not fantasy, but a legitimate mathematical solution to Einstein's field equations. While a black hole absorbs all matter, light, information, a white hole does the opposite. It expels. A white hole cannot be entered. Nothing can fall into it. It exists only to throw things out. Energy, matter, even time itself. Roger Penrose, one of the greatest living minds in physics, who gave us the foundation to understand black hole formation through his singularity theorems, was among the first to propose that if black holes can exist within the framework of general relativity, then so too can white holes, their perfect opposites. But where are they? Why don't we see them? Maybe we already have, because there's one explosion that still baffles us. One singular eruption of energy, mass, and spacetime itself, that we cannot fully explain. The Big Bang. What if it wasn't just the beginning? What if it was the result of something else ending? Enter Nikodem Poplawski, a theoretical physicist, with a revolutionary idea that every black hole might lead to a new universe. And our universe? It might have been born inside one. Poplawski's theory, grounded in Einstein-Cartan theory, a variant of general relativity, suggests that the extreme twisting of spacetime inside a black hole doesn't end in a singularity, but causes a rebound, a quantum bounce. And when that bounce occurs, the contents of a dying universe don't disappear. They are ejected into a white hole, a place where all the compressed energy, all the laws, all the timelines are blown out into something new, a place like our own cosmos. Think about that. You may be living inside the death of another universe. Our Big Bang might not have been the absolute beginning, but simply the other side of collapse. This idea isn't just poetic, it's mathematically plausible. And it connects to the cutting-edge work of Carlo Rovelli, a physicist whose ideas read like poetry written by the universe itself. Rovelli's Loop quantum gravity seeks to unite the quantum world and the gravitational one. And in that quantum fabric, he too sees a solution. Singularities are not infinite. They are transitions. Instead of a breakdown at the heart of a black hole, there is a bounce. A moment when collapse turns to expansion. When death becomes birth. He calls it a white hole rebirth. Not myth, not metaphor. A real process that may have given rise to everything. But how do we know? We don't, not yet. But we're looking. Some scientists speculate that certain gamma-ray bursts, those mysterious flashes of energy across the universe, might be signs of microscopic white holes. Others believe that future gravitational wave detectors might pick up the echo of ancient bounces, cosmic rebirths encoded in the ripple of spacetime. And some theorists push even further, suggesting that the entire multiverse might be structured like an endless chain of white hole births and black hole deaths. Creation and destruction. Forever locked in a cycle we're only just beginning to glimpse. But this leads us to a deeper, more unnerving thought. If destruction can become creation, then what, truly, is the nature of the universe? Is entropy the great disordering, the decay, written into every system, just the setup for something else? Is the arrow of time not a line, but a loop? If black holes collapse matter, time, and meaning into a point, and white holes explode them back out, then are we just echoes of someone else's ending? Are we the dream of a dying world, or the prototype of a new one? Philosophy and physics blur here. Creation may not be the opposite of destruction, but simply its mirror, its reflection across an invisible border. And perhaps, in the deepest sense, every death is a hidden birth. Every silence is a whisper for those who know how to listen. So maybe black holes are not monsters. Maybe they're WOMBS. Maybe the abyss is not empty, but full of beginnings. And maybe we should stop fearing the dark and start wondering what light might still be waiting to emerge. Because in the end, what's more terrifying? A universe that ends, or a universe that never stops being reborn? What if the most powerful force in the cosmos isn't destruction at all, but the quiet, hidden promise of beginning again? We once thought we had time figured out, that the early universe was young and simple, a sea of formless plasma, slowly cooling, gently growing. Galaxies, stars, black holes, all emerging in orderly succession, obeying the calm rhythm of cosmic evolution. But then, James Webb turned its golden eyes to the past, and what it saw has shaken the very pillars of modern cosmology. Not millions of years after the Big Bang, just a few 100 million, a blink, a gasp. That's when Webb detected something it shouldn't have. Colossal galaxies. Fully formed, massive, complex. Too early, too big, too structured. It's as if nature skipped steps. As if someone tore out the first chapters of the cosmic book and scribbled in impossible outcomes. Galaxies that shouldn't be there, but are. Scientists, cautious, skeptical, ran the numbers again, recalibrated, rechecked, but the light tells no lies. These aren't illusions. They're real. And then came something even stranger. Supermassive black holes, lurking at the heart of these ancient galaxies. Not just black holes, but titans. Billions of times the mass of our sun. But how? How could they have formed so fast? So early, when the universe was still in its infancy? Our theories of black hole growth, slow accretion, steady feeding can't explain this. Not even close. It's like finding a full-grown tree in the moment after a seed hits the ground. Some physicists have started whispering what others fear to say. Are we missing something fundamental about black holes? Because this isn't just a glitch in the timeline. It's a gaping wound in our understanding. James Webb has turned the universe into a crime scene. And these early, ancient structures, they are fingerprints left behind by something we don't yet comprehend. Let's go deeper. Webb has also found signs that time near the most ancient black holes, may not behave as we expected. Light from galaxies near these ancient behemoths arrives stretched, warped, almost, frozen. Yes, redshift is. Expected space is expanding. But there's more. The light carries echoes of gravitational distortion, stronger than models predicted. It hints at zones where time might dilate so drastically that what we see as billions of years might be just seconds. From within, Einstein predicted time would slow near massive gravity wells. But what if it slows so much that events we think took eons were born in instants? It's almost as if the early universe had shortcuts. Pockets where time bent inward, where matter and structure emerge not slowly but explosively. Black holes, once seen as the end, may be the architects of beginnings. Could they have seeded galaxies? Not as parasites, but as foundations? Some astrophysicists now suspect that supermassive black holes may form before their galaxies, acting as the core around which stars and dust swirl, not passengers, but conductors of the cosmic symphony. And that raises a darker, more exhilarating possibility. What if black holes didn't come from the universe? What if the universe came from them? It brings us back to an idea we dared to whisper in the last chapter, the white hole hypothesis. That perhaps our Big Bang was not a singularity from nothing, but the eruption of something collapsing elsewhere. Elsewhere. The James Webb data, scattered, subtle, incomplete, doesn't prove this. Not yet, but it points to a haunting question. Are black holes not ends at all? Are they bridges? Could these impossibly early structures be the scars of another reality? Fragments of physics bleeding in from a parent universe? Could the reason they formed too early be because they weren't from here in the first place? And if time behaves differently inside or near them, then maybe our entire timeline is an illusion, a shadow on the wall of something deeper. Webb has given us vision, but what it reveals is not clarity. It's mystery. Elegant, chaotic, and terrifying. We thought James Webb would show us the first stars, the birth of light, the gradual unfurling of creation. Instead, it showed us a crack, break in the narrative, a whisper that perhaps the beginning we believe in isn't the true beginning. So now we must ask, what else don't we understand? Are we building our theories on sand? Have we mistaken effect for cause? Have we made gods of gravity and thermodynamics without realizing we're still blind to the deeper rules? Because if black holes can exist at the dawn, if they can bend time so drastically, if they might be responsible for entire galaxies forming in their wake, then perhaps the most powerful, most mysterious, most reality-shaping objects in the entire cosmos are not out there simply to consume, but to create. And we may be standing in the debris field of their creations. James Webb didn't just look into the past, it cracked it open. And what spilled out might change everything we thought we knew about time, birth, and the black heart of the cosmos. We think we know power. We think of black holes, those titanic mouths in the dark, consuming light, time, form, and memory. We call them monsters. We worship their gravitational fury as if nothing could ever match their might. But what if the most powerful force in the universe is not a thing? Not a place, not even matter or energy, but an absence? What if the true destroyer, the true god of endings, lurks not in the black hole, but in the silence that surrounds it? Let's begin with the question that keeps physicists up at night. What happens beyond the event horizon? That invisible veil, the point of no return where light, space, and even time collapse inward, dragged by gravity so intense that causality itself breaks down. We've sent minds into that abyss. Not bodies, not yet, but minds built of mathematics and quantum theory. And what they find there isn't just strange. It's impossible. According to general relativity, a black hole contains a singularity, a point of infinite density. But quantum mechanics refuses to accept that. Nothing in nature should be infinite. Infinity, after all, is just another word for we don't understand. So what really lies beyond that veil? Stephen Hawking tried to answer. And in doing so, he uncovered a paradox that cracked the pillars of modern physics. The information paradox. Hawking showed that black holes radiate slowly, faintly through what we now call Hawking radiation. Over trillions of years, a black hole evaporates, disappears. But here's the catch. According to quantum theory, information can never be destroyed, not even in fire, not even in fusion. But if a black hole disappears, where does all the information it devoured go? Is it lost forever? If so, then our very understanding of reality is broken. Because if information can vanish, so can the laws that hold the universe together. This is not just a riddle. It's a threat. A black hole may consume stars, but this paradox consumes the very language of physics. And yet, there's something deeper still. Behind the collapse of matter, behind the collapse of light, there's a more fundamental collapse. Entropy. The measure of disorder. The slow, inevitable decay of everything into stillness and chaos. Entropy is the arrow of time. It's the reason your coffee cools, why stars burn out, why civilizations crumble. But entropy is not just a passive force. It shapes the future. And in the far reaches of theoretical physics, it might shape all of reality, because entropy doesn't just rise in systems. It rises in space itself. The vacuum, what we call nothing, isn't truly empty. It seethes with energy. Virtual particles flicker in and out of existence. A chaotic dance at the smallest scales. And within that dance lies a terrifying possibility. Vacuum metastability. A theory that says, what we call the vacuum, the baseline state of our universe, might not be the true ground state, that we might be living inside a false vacuum. A delicate, unstable bubble. And somewhere, someday perhaps triggered by a quantum fluctuation, or the collapse of a black hole, or nothing at all, that bubble could pop. A vacuum metastability event. In an instant, a new state of physics would tear outward at the speed of light. The laws we know, gravity, electromagnetism, even atoms would vanish. Every particle redefined. Every force rewritten. Every memory, molecule, and meaning erased. Not with noise. Not with fire. But with perfect silence. There would be no warning. No escape. Because this isn't destruction of things. It's destruction of possibility itself. This is not science fiction. It is born from the mathematics of the Standard Model. Respected physicists like Sidney Coleman, Andre Lind, and even Stephen Hawking have discussed its feasibility. The real terror? It might have already happened, somewhere in a forgotten corner of the cosmos. The vacuum might have already decayed. A wave of absolute unbeing may be heading toward us, silent, invisible, unstoppable, and we would never see it coming. Compared to this, a black hole is a candle, a shadow, a child of a deeper doom. Because black holes can die. They can evaporate. They obey laws, but vacuum decay rewrites laws. It doesn't kill the body. It unmakes the idea of bodies. It doesn't bend space-time. It dissolves it. So what then is the most powerful thing in the universe? Not the black hole, not the neutron star, not the supernova. But the absence of rules. The loss of definition. The moment when reality itself forgets what it is. And perhaps that moment is inevitable. Perhaps entropy doesn't just claim order. It claims meaning. Perhaps the final state of the universe is not darkness or coldness or decay, but irrelevance. A state where even the word exist has no place. We fear the black hole because it devours what we know. But the greater terror is what lies beyond knowing, a force with no shape, no name, no mercy, waiting in the quiet folds of reality to erase the universe, not with violence, but with indifference. What is power if it cannot be reasoned with? If it does not listen, speak, or even know you exist? We imagine power as something human, something we can hold, wear, wield, a crown, a weapon. a throne, but the most powerful forces in the universe are. None of these. They are not loud. They do not care. They do not ask permission. They simply are, and they remind us, with a silence deeper than death, that we were never in control. There was a time when we believed we were the center of all things, the earth, fixed and unmoving, with the stars circling. US like loyal servants, we built stories, cosmic myths of order and purpose. The heavens had names, emotions, desires. But then came the telescope, then came Galileo, Copernicus, Kepler, and the center shifted, first from Earth to Sun, then from Sun to galaxy, then from galaxy to nowhere. We fell, piece by piece, out of the story we had written for ourselves, until we became what we are now, fleeting creatures clinging to a rock, orbiting an average star, in an unremarkable corner of a universe so vast, so old, so indifferent, that the word insignificance barely begins to describe us. And yet, we still dream of meaning. We still search for the divine, but the gods we now encounter do not speak, do not punish, do not forgive. They swallow. A black hole has no face, no expression, no fury. It is not a destroyer in anger. It is the absence of all emotion. It does not rage. It does not choose. It consumes by nature, not by intent. And that is the true terror, because how do you plead with something that does not hear? How do you fear something that cannot be understood? The black hole does not kill you like a beast. It unravels you like a truth too large for your mind to bear. It stretches your atoms, warps your seconds, and rewrites your story with an eraser made of gravity. You are not even a memory to it. You are a whisper in a language it does not speak. Philosophers once asked, what is more frightening, evil or indifference? A God that punishes, or a God that doesn't know you're there? The black hole is that second God, the one that makes no demands, issues no commandments, gives no signs. It is the God of nothingness, the priest of silence, the monk of mass and void. It turns stars into ghosts, time into fog. It leaves behind no bones, only equations. And as it grows, as it devours light, it reminds us that power does not require a purpose. To the universe, wrote the poet-scientist Carlo Rovelli, we are not even dust. We are ripples, echoes, of a temporary arrangement of atoms, and yet we feel. We think, we love. This is our defiance, our protest against the void, but it is also our humility. To stand beneath the stars, and recognize that they do not revolve around us. To look into the black hole and realize that it does not notice us, because it does not have the capacity to notice, not because we are small, but because it is beyond comprehension. Power, in the human sense, is about control. But cosmic power is not about control. It is about truth. The truth that nature does not serve us. The truth that gravity does not negotiate. And the truth that, somewhere beyond the last breath of light, there are singularities older than memory and colder than thought sitting in silence, as galaxies orbit them like prayers spoken to an empty sky. Think of myth. Think of the ancient gods, Kronos who devoured his children, Anubis who weighed the soul, Shiva who danced in fire to end the world. We made these gods to reflect the chaos we could not tame, but the black hole does not reflect us. It swallows. Even the mirror. It is not symbolic. It is not metaphor. It is reality, stripped of narrative. And yet, somehow we find meaning there, not because the black hole offers it, but because we choose to look into the darkest part of the cosmos and not turn away, because to face something that cannot be known and still ask questions, that is power. Human power. Not the power to change the universe, but the power to love it anyway, to sing, knowing the silence will win, to live, knowing the end is certain. That is how we remain human in the face of gods that do not speak. We feared monsters in the dark, but the real terror is knowing the dark is not a monster, it is a mirror, showing us how small we are, and how brave we must become to stand before it anyway. We've spent centuries searching for monsters, peering into the night sky, fearing what lurks beyond the stars. We've imagined demons in the shadows, alien minds in the silence, cosmic beasts with teeth made of radiation and hunger. But what if we were never outside the horror? What if the thing we feared most is the thing we've always been inside, not beside it, not near it, inside it? What if the most powerful object in the universe is us, or rather the space that cradles us, the void we call home? In the 20th century, Albert Einstein reshaped reality. His equations told us that space and time are not passive. They bend, they stretch, they respond. A massive object, a star, a planet, a black hole, does not simply sit in space. It tells space how to curve, and space tells time how to flow. But that raises a question more disturbing than comfort allows. What happens inside a black hole? Not at its edge, not near its mouth. Inside. Stephen Hawking, Roger Penrose, Kip Thorne, they all explored that abyss. And what they found was not annihilation. It was structure. It was complexity. It was a universe within a collapse. Because when matter falls beyond the event horizon, it doesn't vanish. It falls inward. Into a singularity, yes. But what if that singularity is not an end? What if it's a seed? In 2010, physicist Nikodem Poplawski proposed a heresy wrapped in mathematics, that every black hole could be the womb of a new universe. A bounce, a rebirth, a beginning born from a violent death. It's called the Einstein-Cartan theory, an extension of general relativity that accounts for quantum spin and torsion. And in this framework, a collapsing universe doesn't terminate in a point. It bounces. It erupts on the other side as a brand new cosmos. One with its own laws, its own time, its own sky. And if that's true, then we, you, me, the stars, the galaxies, everything we know may exist inside the interior of a black hole. Not metaphorically, not philosophically. Literally. It is one of the most radical ideas in cosmology. And yet, it answers questions. It stitches contradictions. It explains the uniformity of the early universe. It gives rise to time. It preserves causality. And it doesn't require a singularity of infinite density, because the Big Bang was not a bang at all. It was a continuation. A bud sprouting from the rotting bark of another universe. Ours, wrapped in a cosmic womb. Swallowed by a mother so dark, we never knew she existed. Until now. Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. But what if we are not just part of the cosmos? What if we are its dream, its echo, its memory after death?" Imagine this. A dying star collapses. Its mass folds into a black hole. Within that infinite descent, new dimensions bloom. And inside that hidden geometry, a new timeline is born. It is silent, hot, rapid. Atoms condense, forces separate, matter organizes. And eventually, we open our eyes on a pale blue world orbiting an ordinary star inside a universe that doesn't know it came from another. But maybe, just maybe, the black hole remembers. The idea isn't new. The ancient Hindus spoke of cosmic rebirths. The Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its tail, symbolized infinity, cycles, return. Even modern physics toys with it. The conformal cyclic cosmology of Roger Penrose suggests that one universe's end is the start of another's beginning. In this view, there is no ultimate death, only transformation. Every end is a doorway, every black hole a threshold, and we, the living, are stardust caught mid-fall between eternities. But here's the most haunting part of all. If our universe was born inside a black hole, then what lies outside? What larger structure cradles our laws? What mother universe groaned as ours tore free from her heart? Is she still out there, Is she still collapsing? Are we inside her memory, her heartbeat? Or are we merely a flicker in an infinite regress of cosmos birthing cosmos without end, without center, without reason, only gravity and darkness and dreams? We often say we fear the dark, but maybe the truth is worse. We are the dark. Our galaxies, our light, our time, our breath emerge from something we can't see, can't touch, can't leave. A prison made of velvet. A cathedral of silence. Mind without a name, and we are its thoughts. We look for monsters in the dark, not knowing the darkness is home. A home without stars, without gods, without answers. Only the question, what are we inside of? And deeper still, who is watching? Because if we are inside a black hole, then everything we do, every dream, every death, every moment is suspended in a space-time frozen from the outside. To us, billions of years pass, to the world beyond our event horizon. No time has moved. We are the flicker between blinks, a universe trapped in a breath. In the silence beyond light and sound lies the mind of the universe. And it is watching. Tools,